I want to talk about Coach Saban. You worked with Coach Saban for a while. I mean, you guys have had like kind of a storied history.
Yep.
Over the years, I think. Do you guys still communicate?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. He's not a big like text guy. But we talk every once in a while.
He's not text, he's like to write. Is he more written kind of or?
No, you got to call him.
Okay.
He did just learn how in the last like 2 years to text. He had never texted before.
Wow.
Ever. Like when I was assistant coach there, and he's just like, I'm not texting. Like he just refused. It was like that old school. Like he's got those old school things that aren't changing. And then I like got a text like 2 years ago from him that said good luck or something like that. And I was like, to the group, I was like, dude, I got a Saban text. Like, this is amazing. This is like Vanderbilt beating Alabama. Like, this isn't supposed to happen. Never thought I'd see this day. And then Kirby's like, yeah, I got one earlier this year too. Like he's like learned how to text, just like you get 1 or 2 words. But that relationship's like almost in a way kind of like how you can struggle sometimes, like maybe when you're in it with like a parent and then you get out, like you get older and you get away, you get out of the house.
Yeah.
And then you're like, dang, man, he was on to something. He was right on those things. So I look back as I was there for 3 years and there was friction initially. And I look back, it was all my fault. I'm the assistant. You know what I mean? Like he's the head coach. You know, whatever he says goes.
Oh, yeah. You're supposed to keep it classy over there.
And yes. And that's not, his way is very like, this is the way, like there's not open discussions about it and stuff. And I'd worked for Pete Carroll as assistant. So that's all I knew. And it's just totally different. So like you come in, you have an open conversation, and then you're questioning the process. No, I just was asking like, have we looked at this? You know, like, so I didn't really know how it worked right away. And so it took a little bit of time.
Like he didn't want a lot of suggestions.
No. It's not like a suggestion box. Like, hey, let me pull this. Like, oh, here's a good idea. You know, like, so it was just something I wasn't used to that way. And so it took a little bit of time. But now that I look back, I'm like, okay, he was so strict on everything, kind of like in a parent way, like with his team, with the players, the coaches, like nothing changed. We won a national championship and there's 7:30 staff meeting the next morning. I'm like, what are we meeting on at 7:30 the next morning? He's like, we're behind. You know, because we won the championship, everybody else was recruiting and we're behind. And I was like, well, what are we doing? But now I look back and be like, that's why he is what he is. That's why he was so great. Because it was like the standard never changed no matter what. And then it took me some time to understand too, like when we were winning and playing really well and coaching really well, he was harder on you because he didn't want you to have relief syndrome. You know, like, oh man, we've made it. And I didn't really understand. Would he call it that relief syndrome? I saw he was on the pivot like a month ago and I listened to it with my son Knox and he talked about it in there. He'd never explained it to us, but it was interesting to hear. And he said, most people are born with a relief syndrome. He wasn't. He just always had this way of thinking like, hey, you never relax. Like, but most people are. So he went above and beyond to make sure people didn't have that. Like we'd win a game and then he comes in and just like rips us.
Yeah.
And we're like, man, we played great. Like coach great. That was because he was guarding against that because he knew that could happen.
Dang.
Yeah.
He wasn't letting anything be a possibility.
When I left, we'd won 26 straight games. So I hadn't had many losses. But I do remember the 3 losses that we had over the 3 years. Like he actually, after those, was calm. Like that's when we didn't get ripped. Because he's like, they're going to get ripped anyway. I don't need to. You know, like I need to, when they're feeling good about themselves, bring them down. So I didn't really understand that at first. And now I look back going, man, there's a reason he's the greatest.
Wow. Yeah. Do you regard him as the greatest? Yeah.
I do. I think because, the Bear Bryants, the like legends back then, no offense, they had like unlimited scholarships. Coach Saban did it in an era where there were reduced scholarship numbers. He also did an era when you're losing coaches left and right. You know, he lost so many assistant coaches and he just kept winning. And I don't think anybody will ever be able to do that again. And he couldn't even do that again the way that it's going anyway. Right. And now this with the money part and all that stuff, that's like evening things out that people can't stack the teams like he did. because now your second team and third teams, maybe before where they had to sit there and wait, they couldn't leave back then. Now they leave. So
Right.
you lose your backups because someone gives them more money.
But how was he able to convince players to sit there, be just as good and sit second or third position? That's tough, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Part of his time, they couldn't leave yet.
Oh,
you
I see
couldn't
what you're saying.
transfer. Now you can transfer twice a year. So he still was able at the end to convince some guys to stay, but he started losing backups, so the teams weren't as deep.
Did he have to recruit the whole time, or at a certain point did the acumen of their coach, of their winning, just be the recruiter for him, do you think?
That helped a lot, but he never changed. That was him. Like there was no relief. It never changed. Like he recruited every day, no matter what. And he was nonstop and he's relentless. People always say, okay, well, why did he win so many championships? Why was he so good? And it's like, well, there's the process. There's the assistant coaches. There's the discipline, all these different areas.
Right.
But really the number one thing that mattered the most, he out-recruited people. He got better players.
Right.
When you get better players, you win a lot of games. And it wasn't, they weren't just coming there just to come there. They came there because he recruited really hard.
Got it. What was he like? I mean, did you ever get to spend any time with him? Like, was he good at cards or anything like that? Or did he do anything else besides, like, did he ever take his whistle off, you think? Like, even in the shower, you know?
Coach didn't do a lot of other things. I know he golfed. I never golfed with him, but he golfed.
Did he ever invite you for, or like, did he ever dress up for Halloween? Like, was there anything you ever saw Coach Saban do that was like, felt a little bit more, not as much like, who's that guy? Robert Downey Jr. What's the character he plays? That was outside of Iron Man, you know?
It's interesting, Nick Saban, and people would joke Nick Satan, he was born on Halloween.
Was he really?
His birthday every year is Halloween.
No.
Yeah.
So maybe his whole freaking existence was a costume.
Maybe. But he wasn't going to wear a costume or something like that on Halloween. So there was no like,
How could
he
you
didn't
not
have like
on your-
Halloween parties and
on
stuff.
your own
Like, that's
birthday, even put on a little cattail or something.
Because no day was different. Every day was the same.
Wow.
I will say this. I went to Easter one time at his house and my kids, they were still living in California with my wife. And because I took the Alabama job and then they came for Easter.
Yeah.
And he invited us over. And we went over there and he was different. Now he didn't put on like a bunny costume, but like he was helping the kids with like the Easter eggs and he had one grandkid at the time. And he was like carrying around and it was totally different than the office Nick Saban that we would see all the time. So that was pretty cool to see that side of him. Now he's also so competitive that his grandkid was like 1 and all of a sudden the grandkid found the golden egg, while he was with coach way over there, so coach also was going to make sure that he won.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool to see him like that.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be different. You can't, when Jesus is making a comeback, you can't play defense on that day.
Yeah.
That's when you got to just call the dogs off, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it is definitely skeptical that a 1-year-old found a golden egg. Was he
Yes.
playing against other kids, like of age children?
Yeah. Mine were like 8, 10, and 12.
Oh, God. That's sad. But yeah, winners win, that's what they say. Do you think that Coach Saban misses coaching?
I do. I think that, and he mentioned that in that Pivot podcast, but I did always think, okay, if he was going to do this, he was going to have, and I used to say he's going to have to kind of have that college game day spot because he's going to want to still like be involved. He's just so wired to all day long to do something for his entire life. Now he's not going to sit around and just, be a grandpa.
Yeah.
That's not him. So I think because of that, that's helped a lot. I wouldn't actually be surprised if he came back in the NFL even, as head coach. Because he's so good at it and so in him that I'm not sure he won't come back.